Try to box everybody out, you know.
So how are you feeling about that win over Pitt?
So, it's always eloquent to say you'd rather win than lose. But even if we lost, I thought we played better. You're never as good as you think, and you're never as bad as you think at times. So you got to keep perspective on everything. Just try to make sure your guys are staying focused on getting better every day, because you can have it one big win, and turn around and give it away with a loss, and it just erases.
At the same time, though, it's regardless of how it looked, ACC team, well coached, neutral site, building the kids that never played in before. It's a good neutral site win if you want. You can call it a road win if you want.
That's a great win.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. Pitt's going to the NCAA tournament. They're going to compete for the ACC championship. They have an excellent team. Games take on a life of their own. Those two teams know each other too well. We were too tired with the travel. We couldn't turn around and press the way we like to press. We had to do what we had to do to dig in and get a win. At the end of the day, when they go in and huddle up for the NCAA tournament committee, they don't look at the final score.
What was the turnaround from the Xavier game to this past game?
Well, two things: defense and rebounding. The main two. The defense would be the biggest one. I think we gave up 56% to Xavier and 32%, if I'm right, to Pittsburgh. So, that's night and day. And then, so the rebounding numbers are skewed. When your other team don't miss shots, you're not going to get defensive rebounds. So you got to get stops to get rebounds. I thought our offense was a lot better. Points per possession were up. Our offensive rebounds were up. Our execution was much better. There just wasn't as many possessions in the game. It was a low turnover game. It was a low possession game. You had to find a way to grind out the win.
And I noticed that your big men had more points in this game as well.
Well, we threw him the ball. That's always a start. You got to give Justin Jackson a chance in the low post. He's our best low post scorer. He was dominating the game in the first half. We got off to a hot start offensively because we had a low post game. Then Pitt went to trapping him in the low post. Then they played some zone, and I thought that really hurt our momentum offensively. It took us a while to get into any type of rhythm. I don't know if we ever found an offensive rhythm after that. That's something we got to work on.
You had a string there of 5 straight games where you scored at least 75 or more, in some cases way more. Now you're in like the 47-48 range for the last 3 games. It's just like one of those things that comes and goes. It's long.
Yeah, I think people put too much stock in statistics. Stats are for losers. The only one that matters is the winner or the loss. And everybody, it's people's job to analyze things. I understand that, but we do our own stat sheet. How many times we dive on the floor? Do we out rebound our opponent? Do we have how many bad fouls do we have in a game? Stats that we think actually matter to winning games. See, if we make shots, we win that game easy. But Pitt could say the same thing. You got to be able to win against a really good team when your best player goes 1 for 8 from 3. When you can do that, then you're good enough. You got a real chance. But the question is, can we be that consistent with our winning effort? And we had great togetherness and focus. I think we learned a lot from our 2 losses, and the key is to not forget it. That's the biggest key in this. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, but you can't get amnesia and all of a sudden think you're just going to go walk out and win pretty. It's way harder to win in December than it is in November, and it's going to be even harder to win in January. So the kids have to understand that.
Well, it's basically you got to win the game you're in. Sometimes that requires 82. Sometimes it requires 52.
Right. It just depends.
Yeah.
It just depends. You're in the Garden was not as attended. The ice storm killed a lot of attendance up there. It was as cold as I've ever played it in the Garden. Like I said, our guys were tired. So you got to. Each game takes on a life of its own, and matchups are everything. Like I said, Pitt, they know. We know them. They know us. So there's not a lot of secrets in that game.
What are you thinking about Middle Tennessee after seeing?
I think that they rebound the ball unbelievably well. They look like a high major team physically. They got some big, strong guys, and they have depth. Extremely well coached, physical team, averaging over 39 rebounds a game. So similar to Pitt, really well coached, really physical. I think our press is going to have to be more of a factor. If it's not, I think it's a game that we could really compete in. I think that Middle's a quality team. They've already played at Florida and at Ole Miss, so it's not the first time that they've played on the road against a high major team.
Progress of your freshmen. Seems like minutes are starting to increase, except for Kevin Tuesday, probably just because SK was playing so much. But where are they at in their development and getting more accustomed to things?
Yeah, it's a daily process. You know, I think one thing that I think is a guarantee is freshmen are going to be inconsistent probably all year. You know, but it's important for us, our freshmen, improve. You know, getting those guys more confident on offense is big for us. The same goes for G, Shaq, Jermaine as well. You know, getting all the guys that are playing a different role this year and being counted on more. We got to get those guys. These games are important to where those guys get confident on the offensive end. So I think one thing that bothered me a little bit, I think Shaq missed some shots early and he got gunshot. And I understand why. You know, he didn't want to hurt the team. He didn't feel like he was making shots, but I got to get him to the point where when he's got a quality shot, he's not worried whether he missed the first three. You know, I got to get him to where he believes in himself enough, and he knows that we want him to take those kind of shots. Same with Jermaine Sanders. You're welcome.
Thanks.